There is no gainsaying that the Lagos State government, through its Ministry of Education, has been investing a lot in the area of educating and sensitizing stakeholders in the education sector on the importance of quality assurance. Once again, another workshop on education quality assurance and schools support program was put together, this time around for the members of the National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools in Lagos State. According to the Director General, Office of Education Quality Assurance, Mrs. Runke Sheyombo, every child deserves the best possible start in life to support and fulfill their potentials.
What Nigeria requires for early childhood says children need to have rights, to be free, to explore, and that's what it is. We have seen some brilliant practices in Nigeria. The outdoor area is excellent. The outdoor children can actually practice a lot of things. There's a lot of things to explore. In the classroom is not choked. And the time for them to actually sit at the table and learn too. Please, I'm not saying it's wrong. The only thing we're saying here is we need to balance it out. A bit of everything is what a child needs. Every child deserves the what? They deserve the best possible start in life. I support to fulfill their potentials. A child's experience in the early years has a major impact on their future life chances. When the foundation is properly laid, teachers will not struggle when they get to higher classes.
She further went on to enlighten the participants on the 3 prime areas of learning.
If I put a string here now, and then I put numbers there, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 10, you can easily rearrange them. And for children now to come and solve them out for you. There are so many things we can do. So playing and exploring is what we're talking about. Creating and thinking critically. Let's think of things that can make our children to actually be more creative and to think really critically. Not just 1 plus 1, count it, put the answer there, put the answer there. A lot of private schools are using worksheets, it's fine. But please, let's look at the last result. Because worksheets are fine, but it is limiting children's understanding. It is limiting children's learning. Allow children to explore.
The workshop was interactive in nature. Consequently, participants were given the platform to ask questions as well as share ideas.
Does not want to attend the class. He's a small boy, right? Small boy. He doesn't want to stay. He doesn't stay in the class at all. He moves around the class. At the end of the day, he gets what you are teaching than those in the class.
Please, if that child can sit still only for a few minutes, allow them to sit still and allow them to go run around and come back. Give them that opportunity. The only thing is make sure there's a good settled time for the other children in that class to say, child A, we need to support his needs. His own peculiarity is what is creating this.
Here in our community, in our environment, it's not that the children, they are just left in a world of their own. Their first time of hearing A or B is when they get into school. You can now think about the child from the poor home who don't even have that. So we are trying to say, how can we help our own children at that tender age to begin to compete with their peers in the Western world?
There's no doubt about it that education is faulty in some areas in our community today. Everybody is too busy and leaving all the junky work for school teachers to do. I led a school for 18 months. And what we were doing was to call, we will invite parents. I invited all my early years parents. And I took them, in fact it was a longer session because I took them through all the resources of what we're using for different levels. And with that, they understood it. And not only that, we told them what we needed them to be doing at home as well. But don't forget that they're not going to tick your boxes overnight. But the more you create the awareness, the better it is for them.
We have the YX syllabus, we have that of NECO, even the UTME JAM have theirs. There's Lagos State Unified Scheme, there's national curriculum, and then we have little time sometimes when we try to harmonize the topics in all these curriculum and the syllabuses. Sometimes we find out that the periods available in schools are not really enough to cover this.
You cannot tamper with the curriculum. Not even in Lagos State, because we all take the same exam. Lagos State takes the same exam with every other state. But we have what we call scheme of work. That is your curriculum being, broken down to your teachable topics. We will not go outside the curriculum, but we can modify our scheme of work to suit our environment and whatever is in operation here.
What age should a child start reading? Because when they are teaching us, our parents are so concerned about reading. They believe when their child is in primary one, they should be able to read newspaper.
Some children are naturally fast readers. And that goes back to the fact that if you do phonics really well in your school, your children will fly as readers.
Education reporter on TV spoke with some of the participants at the sensitization program, and they were of the opinion that the workshop was a right step at the right time. And at the same time, they spoke on what they had learned.
Anybody that loves education, that promotes education as far as Nigeria is concerned, especially in Lagos, you should. It's a very laudable program, and the private schools in Lagos are ready to support the government policy to make sure that our children in our school receive the quality education expected from us.
We have really learned a lot today. Actually, it's not as if we're hearing anything new, but it is the presentation and the way it has been brought to us very clearly. And it has enabled us to be able to do a kind of self-evaluation and to hope for the best in our individual and our various schools.
The lecture has been very, very useful. It's been very stimulating, and we gain a lot from the beginning to the end of the lecture. We learned that we have to change with the tides. We have to change with time. We don't have to do certain things the same way all the time. We have to change. And that is how we need to take education.
The one-day workshop on education quality assurance and school support program for members of the National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools in Lagos State has provided a source of enlightenment for private school owners on the best practices of quality assurance, as well as providing school support in order to achieve the goals and objectives of the Lagos State government in ensuring that education remains at its peak.